RaceSpotTV returns for yet another season of RaceSpotTV Primetime, streamed live on iRacing Live. You guys have voted, the schedule is set, and in just a couple moments time, we'll be going IMSA multi-class racing action at COTA. Stick with us. Here we are for the IMSA SportsCar series here on iRacing for season 4 of the year of 2017, and we're here at the Circuit of the Americas, Austin, Texas. The weather out there is very, very good for racing indeed. Partly cloudy, 23 degrees Celsius in the air. Track temp hovering around 28 degrees Celsius. Winds from the east at 8 kilometers an hour, and well, qualifying is well underway for all 3 of your classes here today. And well, we should be setting up for some fantastic racing. It's going to be a 45-minute race, and it's going to be a 1 scheduled pit stop for every single class in your field right now. Currently, provisional pole in each of your classes is Victor Preto for the prototypes, 155.3. In terms of your GT3 machines, it's going to be Emmanuel Di Maio there with a 159.3, and then Sergey Heras leading your GT3 field with a 202.9. And well, it's going to be the first time that we see these Ferrari GT3 cars out there on track on a RaceSpot broadcast, Paul.
It certainly is going to be. Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all enjoying yourselves, and yeah, welcome along. First time we see this Ferrari GTE and GT3 car, sorry, and well, there are plenty of them circulating at the moment. I'm just bringing up the top lap times at the moment on the screen, and yeah, as you say, Victor Preto, he's got World Championship license, so only black stripe driver on the field, so he's currently on pole position for your Daytona prototypes with about 1.5 minutes left, Conrad.
Yep, exactly. As your driver, just trying to look at getting the well, the second of their 2 allotted qualifying laps in over the course of this session as it starts to draw to a close. We have a relatively small, shall we say, prototype field consisting of only 5 cars, but hopefully they can all stick together and give us some good racing in that field. As we're having a look at the number 17 car currently on his qualifying lap. This is Marco Arcidiacono. They're heading himself through turn 16, turn 18. This is at the back end of the lap here, coming up in towards the penultimate corner of turn number 19. He did a 155.6 last time by. Let's see if he can improve on this lap time as he heads in towards the entry to the final corner here. And let's see if 1, this lap is valid, and 2, if it's actually faster than his previous qualifying as he comes across the line. And actually that is going to be 0.2 of a second slower than his other qualifying time, so no improvement for Arcidiacono.
Yeah, no improvement there for sure, and just looking down your field, the GTE field, you've got a good mix of Ferraris and Fords. Sam Fitzpatrick, He's coming towards the end of the lap. I don't think he's going to make it though. It's going to be close for the fixed eye car, but no, he's going to miss out, I think. He's only got 15 seconds to make it through these last two corners, and he may have just timed it incorrectly for him, because he's currently not shown as having a lap time.
Yep, and he's going through the final corner with 5 seconds to go. It's only a short sprint to the line, thankfully, but I think that clock is going to tick over just before he gets to the line. Yep. But actually, the racing system did say that he managed to get a lap in there, so very, very good timing, shall we say, there for Sam Fitzpatrick. 2:01.0 was his lap time that he'd set in qualifying, just right at the end there. But here is your grid for tonight's race. In your prototype field, it will be Victor Prieto taking the pole position there with a 155.353 ahead of Marco Acediacono, Nico Abril, Bruno Oliveira, and rounding out that very small prototype field is going to be Marius Sudau down there in the number 26 machine. Then in your GTE field, it's going to be Emmanuel Ario there in the 159.3s. They're the only one of 2 drivers in the GTE field in the 159s. The other one will be Matt J. Farrow there in the number 3 machine. Then it's going to be Alessandro Dalladone and Barry Morrison lining up on the row behind them. Then Michel de Jong, Jaco Sigoli, Javier Treyes, Mike Horder, Danny Ramirez, Sam Fitzpatrick, that got the lap in at the dying end of the qualifying session right there, Marius Kubian, Carl Modig, and Aidan Campbell will round out your GTE field. And I wonder if you can just give us the rundown of the GT3 field, please, Paul. Yeah,
thank you very much for that. Sergei Herreras in the pole position of 2 minutes 2.9 for him, only just ahead of Roque Garcia in second place, with Tim Greven in third. And, well, the rest of your field on the screen at the moment, because we're getting ready for a start, well, ready for the rolling start, Connery, and it is down the back straight. This will be starting this rolling start from, so short out warm up for them. Not much opportunity to get tyres, temperature up, but these drivers they'll be used to this. 45-minute race. It's a fuel limited race as well. You know, we're looking at pit stops in and around, like you were saying earlier, in and around that sort of 14 laps or so for the majority of the field. Oh well, they're pulling away now, and it's going to be interesting to see how this one works for these drivers. We've got one driver who's not taken the start, and that's Mark Schindel. And he's decided to not take the start here. He's possibly starting from the pit lane. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. The good thing about Circuit of the Americas, though, it's quite a wide track, so there's going to be plenty of space for these drivers to work through the traffic here.
Yeah, one issue on the first lap could be that run up into turn number 1, the notorious turn number 1, where it's such a tight corner for a first corner. Even though it's quite wide on entry, it can cause a couple of issues like we've seen previously in the likes of the World Championship Grand Prix series. They've had a couple of issues coming through there, but your field are all rolling around the track right now, just coming up to the turn 14, 16, 17, 18 sort of section here at the latter end of the lap. So not a full pace lap for these guys, but as you mentioned, they may have a couple of issues getting some heat into those tires because they don't have the full pace lap, especially the prototypes, because they don't have tire warmers on those Corvette DPs there. So that could mean that they're a little bit sketchy coming in through the first sector of the lap on the first lap. But, well, the stand of these drivers probably means that they won't have all that many issues keeping it on track, especially with how small that prototype field is, as the three classes start to spread themselves out now as they head down towards the final corner. Pace car will pull in and the field be under control of Victor Prieto as he rounds them around the final corner here. Will he go immediately? And he does. Green flag will fly here for the first round of the IMSA Sports Car Series. All your prototypes almost already single file. Here comes the GTE start, though. Matt Faro getting a very, very good start over your pole sitter, Emmanuel De Malio there. And they'll take it side by side on the run up to the first corner. Almost 3 wide behind between Michel de Jong and others, but they set up 2 by 2 by 2 coming up into the first corner. And it's a little bit tentative on the brakes for all of your field here. And there's a 3 wide coming through the first corner there. Michel de Jong in the middle of a Ferrari sandwich there as they head down through the first sector. Still 3 wide coming down through the S's. A little bit of a door check there from Michel de Jong on Sigoli there, but he manages to get himself and the rest of the drivers through okay as they head their way through the S's section for the first time. Now having a look through towards your GT3 start, and it looks like these guys have been relatively okay. Sergio Harris still leads the field, but Tim Graven has picked up a position on the first couple of corners there, gets himself up into P2, and Rocky Garcia has to fall back into what's P4 after what is a horrendous start for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody getting away clean. That's the main thing here in this race. Looking back in your GTE field, and it's, well, Danny Ramirez and also Sam Fitzpatrick have been battling pretty much side by side all the way through the S's. They've finally sorted themselves out. We've got side by side further back as well, right at the back of the GTE field of Aidan Campbell and Carl Modig as well. So plenty of opportunities here for these drivers. In fact, battle for second place. It's all getting a bit tight in your GTE field as well. There's going to be positions changed left to right here. The GT3s as well. They're battling away down into that tight left-hander at the end of the long straight. And going down the inside, that's Tim Greven, who's trying to get past.
Oh, and he gets turned.
Yeah, he does.
He gets turned by Sarinsky there. Your only Mercedes in the field, and the other, well, the Ferrari will go spinning across into the grass there of Tim Graven. Luckily, I don't think he has too much damage as a result of that contact, but that puts him right to the rear end of your GT3 field as it is right now. They were battling side by side pretty much down the entirety of the long back straight here. We have COTA, and well, that was just, I think Sarinsky just expecting the car to be a little bit further left than it actually was, and ended up spinning his competitor towards the inside of the corner there. But Graven is back up and running as we see another car around as well ahead of them there. That was Sergio Harris. Oh my god, that is the what was your leader in your GT3 field having issues there. What has happened here? Just rewind the tapes a little bit. It was actually just a self-spin.
Yeah, I was just having a look at the replay there. Yeah, just around he goes. A little bit too hot into that penultimate corner. He does tag the wall as well, and he has to wait for everybody to get around him. So not good for him. He's going to have to make a recovery drive here, and he's already 5 seconds behind. Prototypes, Vitor Prieto, he's got just about a second gap, so he's still giving a slipstream to the second place driver. But at the moment, they're all pretty much staying as they are. It's these GTEs and GT3s, and especially your GT3 lead. Look at this battle. It's a 3-way battle in the lead of that GT3 field at the moment.
Yep, it is, and we'll have to see if Tim Graven and Sergio Harris can actually get themselves back through the field. As challenge for the race lead goes Roque Garcia now down onto the brakes into turn number 11. This is the corner just before that long straight, and a try a little bit of a cutback move to Sarinsky down towards the inside. Ferrari against Mercedes heading their way down the back straight here, and Sarinsky desperately wants to try and tuck in here, but he's not clear just yet, as actually Roque Garcia will take the defensive, what would eventually be the defensive inside line for turn number 12. So Sarinsky's just going to have to hang it around the outside just for now and hope that he has the inside line for the next corner as he tries a little bit again of more of a cutback move. Still not going to be working for him as the Ferrari comes out on top in this particular battle just for the moment. But you've also got the likes of William Nevanstrait there. I'm completely butchering that pronunciation. I'm very, very sorry. But you've also got Michael Ivdoka there and Claudio Perucci also looking to get themselves inside that top 3 area.
Yeah, they certainly are, as they're all scrubbling away. It's giving the opportunity for drivers behind to keep up with them and to keep in this battle. Whereas you look in your GTE field, you battle for the lead, it's really just 2 drivers out the front there. And then you've got a little bit of a gap back to De Mayo in 3rd place. So really, it's going to be an interesting race. It's going to be an interesting race in terms of strategy as well. As you look at the battle in your GT3 still in towards turn number 1 there, Connery. And it's a move for second place and down the inside. Williams through on Johan, and Johan's trying to get the run around the outside and try and get the cutback here. It's not going to quite work, and it's tricky through this section now because it's a high speed left, right, but they keep on slowing down each time, so you're just going to be careful. You've got to make sure you hit your apexes, get the right line, because you carry the speed all the way through there. But careful not to clip any of those anti-cut curbs that you have. Your second placement, by the way, has dropped back a little bit in the overall standings. It's now 3 seconds behind Puerto for the lead. So really, it's these GT cars, the GTEs and the GT3s, that have given us pretty much all the action so far, Conor.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be the case, as I'm seeing on the track map that all the prototypes are starting to just get some quite considerable gaps between themselves. So that will definitely spreading out right now. Is Niemann's Verdreit, actually, I believe is the pronunciation for that P number 3 and actually P number 2 now GT3 driver in that Ferrari GT3. And there's also Mercedes Saranzinski there in that Mercedes, and the only Mercedes in the entire field of Ferrari GT3 cars right there. So the new car obviously proving quite popular in this series right now. Having a little bit of a look back towards your GTE field though, Matt Farrow currently your race leader in that Ford at the front there, and he's not been able to get away too much over the past couple of laps. Does extend that the gap that last time by, but Dardoni, he's a very quick driver indeed. He won't be letting Matt Farrow get away very, very quickly, but it must have been a questionable lap from him that last time by. As looking back towards the midfield of your GTE field, you also got this train of cars from Barry Morrison all the way down towards Sigoli, and you've also got the likes of Danny Marias trying to catch onto the back of that 4-car train as well.
Yeah, certainly do. I'm just looking back there, so we're on board with Barry Morrison at the moment, and he's got that queue of 3 cars behind him at the moment. This is all battling from 4th down to 7th in the GTE field, and really they're just staying as they are, line astern, not really making any moves so far.
Here comes a move back in the pack though. P number 14, Sam Fitzpatrick, coming under threat here from Mike Horder. Horder attempted a side drop move, or side drop-esque move coming down into turn number 11. Wasn't able to make that one work, but he still has a chance here coming on the run down towards turn number 12. He's got his car on that inside line. Deep on the brakes here should do it, or at least give him a challenge coming down into this corner. As actually he door checks the driver on the outside of the corner and spins Sam Fitzpatrick's forward onto the outside of the circuit, and he'll get himself going. But that was an unnecessary contact there, Paul, you have to feel.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do really there if you're Sam Fitzpatrick. Is giving him the space. I think what didn't help was the fact that the Ferrari clattered the curb on the inside there, and that sent him further wide into Sam Fitzpatrick, and now he's all the way at the back of the GTE field on his own. And well, it's not great for Sam Fitzpatrick. He only just sneaked in to the grid on qualifying. How he set a time after the clock had ticked over, I don't know, but there you go. And well, he's now having all the hard work to do. Just looking back at the GT3s, Roger Garcia has pulled away slightly. He's 1.8 seconds ahead. In fact, we've got Conrad and Tim Greven. Tim Greven, of course, making a recovery drive here. He's moved up now, so he's moved up a single place there, up to 26 overall.
Yeah, Tim Graveland getting involved in that early instant with the Mercedes of Sarinsky, who is currently running up in P number 3. So obviously Tim Graveland coming off the worst of the 2 drivers involved in that instant, but he's steadily trying to make his way back through the field. He's caught up to the back of the train of the whole field, past Konrad Molnar already, and Sergei Heras as well. Also another driver that had a incident on the first lap. But that one wasn't really helped by anyone else. It was just a mistake coming through the penultimate corner that has put him at the back of the field, even though he qualified on pole for the GT3 field.
Look at your GTE's battle for 4th place is still ongoing. It's all locked up there. It's the number 2 car, and do you know what? He's made that work. Every wheel on that car was locked up going into the apex. Oh, and he's run wide. So it's lost in the place. He's almost lost another place there.
Yep, from hero to zero in about 2 corners there for Javi Ultreus, and it would just be the exact same way as it was on the entry towards turn number 12 right now. And you've also got the driver of Michel de Jong in that fold behind him as well, looking to improve his position, but he was about 3/10 of a second slower than the 2 cars ahead that last time by, but that battling has just brought him right back into this as they head their way through the final corner right now. And Barry Morrison getting a fantastic run off of that corner, miles better than the Fords behind him, and that could be a strength of the Ferrari coming out there. It's much better in those slow speed corners. The mechanical grip in that Ferrari is so much better than the Ford, and the Ford tends to be much better in aerodynamic dependent sections like the S section we're coming up to right now.
And one thing I have noticed is a slight damage on the front of Michel de Jong's car. Just on the left-hand side, well, on both sides actually, but it's more prominent on the left-hand side. It's not the greatest amount, but it will be affecting his top speed by, say, a mile per hour or 2. And what we'll do is we'll try and stick with him, because we're coming up to the straight after turn number 10, and that's where you'll be able to see it. And what we'll do is we'll get a comparison up with the car in front. Bearing in mind that these both cars are in slipstream at the moment. The Ferrari taking a nice line there through turn number 10. Now onto the power. We'll get that comparison up now. And you can see the speeds at the bottom of the screen there under the names. You can see Javier is just slightly pulling away there on top speed. Not by much, by a mile an hour or so. So it just hindered him by a mile an hour on the top end, but Michel de Jong is certainly able to keep with his drivers.
Yeah, he is. As we have to remind you, this is the battle for number 4 in your GTE field that is going on behind Barry Morrison right now. Having a look at the rest of your other fields, especially your prototypes, they haven't really been doing much to comment on. They've all spread out. Victor Prieto saying lap times miles above everyone else. It was in fact 0.8 of a second faster than Marco Asediacono in second place in your prototype field that last time by. So Victor Prieto absolutely flying in your prototypes right now. Shouldn't be any issues for him until, of course, he comes up on traffic, and he's around about half a lap away from doing so at the moment, so we'll probably see that around about lap number 12 in this event. Looking back at your GT3 field, though, there's close battling going on between Sarinsky for P number 3, between Sarinsky and Michael Evdoka here, and it's going to be another case of that Mercedes going up against another Ferrari. It's actually side by side in your GTE field, sorry. That was Mike Horder just getting past Danny Ramirez in that number 22 machine. I think this was coming in towards the first corner. Yep, he managed to get himself side by side coming down the pit straight, and it was an easy move completed on the brakes down into turn number 1.
Horder clattered one of those anti-cut curbs, and well, if you hit those too much, it will damage your steering, will damage your aerodynamics as well. So you've got to be careful with those through that SS section that they've got there, and well, they're heading down towards turn number 10, and well, you just feel that Ramirez now is holding up Kubain behind. In fact, he's going to have a look down the inside there, and look at that. You see once again, and he's losing 2 positions here because Carl Modek says thank you very much, I'll take that place as well.
Yep, that was an opportunistic move from Modig down the inside here, but he's losing the straight line speed battle here because Danny Ramirez does have the slipstream of the 4GT in front of him. They head side by side, and actually Modig will just pull out of that move just for now. Danny Ramirez still looking for that position over Marius Kugan there, but not able to capitalize on anything coming down in towards that turn number 12 hairpin at the end of the long straight there. As this train will just make themselves get themselves through this very technical turn number 13, 14, 15 section here, which is well, it's a characteristic, shall we say, of the Tilke designed circuit, that you have a very tight technical section there, but they managed to get themselves through fine.
Yeah, certainly. Herman Tilke, copy and paste set up on his computer, because it seems to do a job of basically copying different parts of his designs. But there you go. It's not a bad circuit, you have to agree. It does produce some good racing, especially in GT racing. It encourages overtaking maneuvers. We're still looking at Carl Modek, by the way, who's trying to get by into turn number 1, can't do it. Tries to take a different line, get a better, tighter exit. So so he can try and get the run out of the corner, but he's not going to do that for the time being. Yeah, I've got a battle for second place in GTE as well. It's pretty close between Deladone and De Meo, and those two, see on screen now, 0.4 of a second between them, so pretty close there. Those two battling away. Another close battle actually is a battle for third place in your GT3, and that's going to be Johan straight through there on the inside, and Michael Avdoka decided not to fight that one.
No, he just, well, basically slowed up in the middle of the corner, just let Sarinsky through, and, well, that is just Sarinsky going to be off and away unless Michael Avdoka can just hang with him here. And again, you have to stress that Sarinsky, the only Mercedes in this field, in pretty much the whole field of Ferraris, and he's doing pretty well as a result, considering the balance of power between these cars at the moment isn't quite, you could say, where it should be. Hopefully there'll be a couple of updates to that in the future. As actually it would be Sam Fitzpatrick, I believe, that was having a battle there. I believe that was with
Aidan Campbell.
Yeah, Aidan Campbell.
Just saw the move into turn 11 there, and well, of course, Fitzpatrick trying to make the recovery drive, and well, that's one place up at least for him in that one. Yeah, not much really more you could say about it.
Ooh, a little bit of contact in GT3 field. That was Sarinsky defending for Michael Avdoka, and Avdoka goes way too deep on the brakes, coming down into turn number 13, just punts the Mercedes driver off the circuit. What has happened to cause that little altercation there? As actually it was an attempted move around the outside by Avdoka, coming down onto the brakes into turn number 12, and I think there's a little bit of contact on the exit of the corner. Yes, Avdoka not expecting the Mercedes driver to be so slow coming off the corner, and then Avdoka gets his braking point all wrong and just runs into the back of the Mercedes.
Yeah, I don't think Sarinsky will be too happy about the treatment dished out there. And, well, Avdoka, he's in a podium position. In fact, he's coming to the pits. He's already taken a pit stop here, and obviously he feels that he's got damage on the car. It's an early stop. Can he make it to the end here? At this point, it'd be close, but I don't know. It's going to be tight. He maybe do a little bit of fuel saving, bit of lifting and coasting into corners.
Yeah, that could be what has to be done there. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that one. As actually, what was that? It was going to be Bruno Oliveira actually losing a position there to a GTE driver. That, if you can believe such things, actually it was Bruno Oliveira actually pushing wide, coming down into turn number 12. Just lets your GTE leader through. So that is not usually the order that we expect things to happen, but it has.
It's getting close, and it's Ramirez and Modig, and Modig has made that move now. He's made it stick, and Ramirez having to slot back down a position here. So that's going to be in 11th place in class, and it's coming through now, and it's tricky to keep up with the car, especially if you've got an aero-dependent car like the GTE car or like the even the GT3 cars. Around these long sweeping corners that are relatively fast, Connery, it's going to be difficult to follow them, because if you're following closely, you're going to be losing that grip, which will therefore mean that you use your tyres a little bit more towards the end of your stint, especially. You'll be feeling that a little bit more.
Yeah, some of these GTE cars are a little bit more aero-dependent than you perhaps first think. Is actually Alessandro Deladone having a huge moment coming through the S's section. The number 12 driver, again, hitting those curbs they've mentioned a couple of times already, Paul. I think he'll have some damage. We've
had an incident with Modig as well. Carl Modig will get this up on the screen now. It's into towards turn number 1. Let's have a look. We've got the replay on now. And turn number 1. Oh, and he's locked up the rears. That sent the back end around. He almost lost control, but kept a hold of it. And that's him through. Sergei Herreras, the race-leading GT3 car at the start, who lost control. He's decided to make his pit stop now. So you're kind of in that pit window for the time being. But yeah, it's certainly counting. We're starting to see damage on the front corners as I'm just looking at Deladone, the car that you mentioned, hitting those anti-cut curbs. he's got front right damage on that car, so the aerodynamics won't be liking that one at all.
Yeah, and that's something that can be repaired in the pits, but obviously you spend longer down on pit lane as a result of trying to get that one fixed. So you have to weigh up in your mind, is it worth getting this damage fixed? Am I going to be better off just leaving it damaged than I would just taking the time out on pit lane to get that fixed? And, well, that's the decision that the drivers have to make. As I'm looking at the track right now, and your prototype leader, Victor Prieto, is just going to be coming up on some GT3 traffic relatively shortly here. He's about one corner away from hitting the first piece of it. Konrad Molnar making his way through turn number 11, and Victor Prieto just on the exit of that same corner right now. So it's only a matter of time before the prototypes hit traffic. It's going to be a long time, if at all, if the GTEs themselves hit the GT3 traffic, and maybe a possibility at the end of this race. Actually, it was a close on the brakes there between the number 4, Barry Morrison, and the 2 of Yavi Iltreus there. Again, this pack is, well, this used to be the train of 4 that we saw just a couple of laps ago. It's become a train of 3, and it's starting to split up even more now as we head towards sort of the pit stop area around about lap 14 up until lap 17, lap number 18, especially for your prototypes. And we'll just have to see if anyone closes up after the pit stop cycle has gone through. But there's a little gaggle of GT3 cars as well that are all battling for P number 3. This is Claudio Peruschi heading his way through the final corner there. And actually, there's a car down on pit road. That's Tim Graven. Okay, that's the car that had the incident with the Mercedes on the first couple of laps. He's heading his way down on towards the lane. And also Angelo De Silis as well coming in for what is really an early stop here for the GT3 cars. So they're looking to get themselves perhaps into some clear air, just taking fuel towards the end here.
Yeah, certainly. Well, this is pit stop time for some of them, and this is where they're going to be trying it out. And well, we'll get to. Oh, in fact, our second place prototype car is onto pit road as well. So the pit stop's happening now for those cars. And it's all a case of what they can do now towards the end. You hit 23 minutes to go, so plenty of chances for drivers to get that one. But yeah, we'll still. In fact, it's going to come out just behind the second. No, it's alongside the second place, the fourth place prototype, and that car hasn't even pitted yet. So that tells you how much that Marco had as an advantage over the rest of them. But still, that battle in your GT3s is going on for fourth place in class.
Yeah, this is going to be the Ferrari of Andrew de Jong versus the Sarinsky there in the Mercedes, and de Jong's going to have to push way wide coming down through turn number 12 and will surrender that position pretty easily. Perhaps spooked a little bit on the brakes there, just got his braking point all wrong and locked them up coming through the corner, and as a result he has lost the position there. As it's been a relatively up and down race for the number 10 driver of Johan Sarinsky. He's got himself involved in a couple of incidents, and well, he's been up the field, down the field, they're pretty much everywhere in the field right now, and let's see how this race will end for him. As actually, the prototypes now are starting to come through on this GT3 field. There's Victor Prieto just scything his way through the field. Johan Sarinsky will actually head his way down on towards the lane as the prototype leader tries to come up on him. And well, that's kind of what we expected right now, as we see Johan Sarinsky down on pit road, the only one down on pit road just for the moment.
Yep, certainly onto the pit lane then, and he's going to look for a stall. Stops the car, perfectly timed as well. He didn't get any sort of penalties, we hope. Should be good. You know what? I was surprised that Prieto didn't actually go onto pit road himself, just to get him out a little bit of traffic. 14.1 seconds pit stop for Johan, and away he goes once again. He's going to come out with some of the other cars that have pitted already. Tim Greven has pitted. He's jumped him. Greven, in fact, was a 12.7 pit stop, so about a second and a half faster.
Yeah, and your GTE leader will actually be heading his way down on towards the lane as well. Matt J. Farrow deciding to bring that car for its one and only scheduled service, just for fuel. I don't think you'll be taking tyres in these GTE cars, and well, there's a reason for that. They can last pretty much 2 stints in a proper endurance race. So Matt Farrow just taking the field towards the end there as Marius Sudau just coming off of pit lane in that prototype. He has done his service, I believe. He has come down pit road. And where will Matt Farrow come out is the question. He just comes out behind the back end of the GTE field. He's got Daniel Ramirez and Karl Moldek ahead of him. But that shouldn't be an issue, especially if they come down on towards the lane next time by, which is kind of what Matt Farrow is hoping right now in terms of his race at the front. Yeah,
he's got himself into a relatively clear space here, and that's what he would have wanted there. He's got a couple of cars that are battling away. Actually, Karl Moldek is still battling away with Danny Ramirez. This too is the eternal fight between these two. And, well, looking in towards this turn number 10, and I think Ramirez is going to run a little bit wide there. Moldek trying to get the better exit. It's not going to work, and that's not panned out for them. A couple more of your GT3 cars, Perucci and De Jong are on pit road. The leading GT3 car still hasn't pitted, so that's interesting to see that one. Roque Garcia out front in GT3.
Oh, Karl Moldek.
Yeah, we'll get a replay of that on, but yeah, that was down at turn number 11, Connor.
Yeah, it was coming down on the brakes. In fact, into turn number 12 it was. Both cars locking up their brakes coming down into the corner. You could say Daniel Ramirez locked them up much worse than Karl Moldek. So Moldek managing to get himself through on Ramirez, and also your, well, what was your previous GTE leader getting through on Ramirez, as well as we have a couple more drivers down on towards the lane. This is the majority of the front runners now in your GTE field. Emmanuel Di Maio, Alessandro Dalladone, Abigail Treyas, all deciding to bring their cars down on towards the lane. Barry Morrison and Michel de Jong are the drivers that have decided to stay out. So have Jacopo Sigoli there as well, deciding to stay out. And where will Matt Farrow exit in, well, come across the line? And actually, he's got side by side up into turn number 1 with Karl Moldek there. That was a scary moment for your GTE leader, but he's comfortably ahead of the likes of the cars that were coming off of pit road, the likes of Alessandro Dalladone and Emmanuel Di Maio as well. Di Maio almost going side by side with the Aidan Campbell there. And both of these drivers, I believe, may have made a pit stop, if I'm reading this correct. No, actually, Aidan Campbell not made a pit stop yet, so that's not really a good pit exit there for Emmanuel Di Maio, coming out straight into a battle with a car that hasn't headed his way down on towards the lane just yet. More drivers down onto the lane in terms of your GT3 field. Roque Garcia, your GT3 leader, and William Niemans-Verdrecht also heading their way down in towards the lane for their service. And also Nico Abril in the prototype field heading his way down on towards the lane and gets a little bit of power slide coming through on the entry towards the pit lane, but no harm done.
Yeah, we'll just have a look at the exit the pit lane now for Roque Garcia. See where he comes out, and he's coming out to a pretty clean track at the moment. And does that mean that he's actually come out nicely? Big gap at the front there. He doesn't lose anything, and he's well, he's out in front, and yeah, nice and easy for him. As Nico Abril also coming out of pit road.
Yeah, he is, and he'll be behind a bunch of GT3 traffic right here. So that is definitely not the pit exit he would have wanted, coming out in such heavy traffic for Nico Abril. And, well, Tim Graven has done a very, very good job of this recovery drive so far, because he's gotten himself up into what is going to be P number 3 at the end of this lap. So that early stop has really, really benefited the driver, the number 16. Meanwhile, up the field, Sam Fitzpatrick, I believe, battling, actually wasn't he? He was heading down on towards the lane with Sam Fitzpatrick. And there's only a couple more GTE cars left to head their way down on towards the lane. But heading back towards that GT3 battle, you gotta say Tim Graven has really benefited from that early stop, as very close behind Team Perucci and Zrinski.
Yeah, and sorry, I'm a bit busy trying to fix our graphics here because we've got a couple of problems, but we're able to do it. Victor Prieto, by the way, onto pit road, and he's going to be taking his pit stop. It should be nice and easy for him, and should be well clear by the time that things change over. But yeah, Zrinski, look at this, Zrinski still battling away and Perucci as well. You've got lap traffic trying to work their way through as well, and this is the tricky bit for these prototypes to try and work their way through battling cars. And at the moment, these battling cars, they don't want to give the space. They're too busy focusing on the car in front of them.
Yeah, and you have to remember the GTE field is actually starting the process of lapping these GT3 cars. Is very close between the 28 and the 10 there. The prototype of Avril and Joran Surinsky, they're very close coming through the 16, 17, 18 section there, rubbing doors if these prototypes had, well, they do have doors. They just have scissor doors, don't they, Paul?
Yeah, they've got doors, they've got wing mirrors, you know, everything. It's everything that you want a GT car to have or a GT3 car to have, but yeah, still we've got this battle Perucci and De Jong as well, and also there's Harras. Now remember, Harras has got the pace. He was our pole sitting GT3 car, and he's at the back of these cars that are battling away, and he's determined to try and make up more space here. We've got for Pitter, Bruno Oliveira from the prototypes is onto pit road now. Mike Horder and Mauritius Kuban as well in pit road. So the final few pit stops are getting done here, Conor.
Yeah, now it's just me getting caught in an open wheel mindset when talking about doors. There is a very busy pit road in terms of GTE cars. Mike Order, Marius Cuban, Daniel Ramirez and Aidan Campbell all down on towards the lane to get their stops out of the way. And it's very close again for GT3 field. It's going to be the 23 and the 14 and the 11 all battling out there on track right now. It was very close coming down into turn number 11, but they managed to sort themselves out by this very long pit straight. But meanwhile, the GTE cars behind these guys are just almost 3/4 of a straightaway, so they'll be catching within the next couple of laps, I would have thought.
Yeah, a couple. It's not much. See, this is the thing with these cars. There's not much lap time difference between the GT3s and the GTE cars, and yeah, so you're not really going to get those cars mixing much. But it's the prototypes mixing with the GTEs that's going to be the one to look out for, as they do have a good sort of 4 seconds a lap on them. And yeah, Victor Preto, oh, he's got a nice clear track in front of him at the moment, plenty of space, and it's GT3, well, looking at your GT3s and also your GTE battles, plenty of battling going on through the field. Oh, the big wiggle there from De Jong on the exit, the final corner, and this is going to be Harras chance and his opportunity as he heads in towards turn 1.
Battle of the lip breakers coming down into turn number 1, and Harras will come out on top just for now. First one to the apex of the corner, and he gets a decent exit coming off the corner. De Jong was thinking about the cutback move coming off the corner, but wasn't able to make it work as they head through this very aerodynamic section of the S's here. Reminds you of the Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel section of the Silverstone circuit. And they will just be all single file coming through here. Meanwhile, drivers down on towards the lane, Barry Morrison, Michel de Jong and Carl Modig all on the lane, and I think that completes the cycle of pit stops, at least as far as your GTEs are concerned, and of course your GT3s, and I think most of the prototypes come in as well, so we're not expecting all that many people to come down on towards the lane for the rest of this race right now, so all of the positions that you're seeing are fairly accurate.
Yeah, pretty much now as we see it, and yeah, really interesting to see now how these gaps are here, and the field, you would have thought would be a little bit more spread out now after the pit stops, but it's not the case. There's just tenths of seconds between people like Corbin, Fitzpatrick, Ramirez in your GTE field, and in your GT3s, that battle for 4th place in that class is just absolutely epic. And Harras is trying his best to now get up ahead of Perucci.
Yeah, but you have to remember that the 11 of Sergio Harras was actually the pole sitter for your GT3 field before that single car spin that he had on the penultimate corner. So he's been on a recovery drive all this time, and Tim Graven also has been on a recovery drive all this time, but he has managed being able to make his way up into P3. Meanwhile, Sergio Harris is stuck in this mid-pack battle that he's having right now with the likes of Perucci and Surinsky, as he's very close coming through the final corner, not able to get the run off the corner that he needed though to make a challenge coming down into turn number 1. He could possibly sling one down the inside, but you don't want to be doing that with about 6 laps to go. That's more of a last ditch attempt thing coming up into here. Is slightly different lines taken by your drivers, and Harris actually going to make his way side by side coming off the corner, but it's not enough of an overlap to do anything with it.
No, it's not, and well, as he's coming through into the sweeping section, we're looking on board from his roof, and you're looking at the compromised line that Perucci had to take there in towards the second and third part of it, the S's there. And now he's coming around, but it's slowed down Harris that little bit, and he's having now to just be patient, bide his time. And yeah, it's certainly going to be close, and I would think it's going to be battle of the late breakers down towards the turn number 11 for these two. Just remember though, these GT3 cars have something that the Ferrari GTE cars don't have. That's ABS. That's a huge advantage there. You really can stamp onto those brakes if you really need to.
Yeah, you do, and it may be a requirement for Sergio Harris to get himself past if it's a last-ditch attempt, and this could be one of the sections of track where it's important, and he goes for the move from way far back here, coming down into turn number 12. Again, not able to capitalize. He needs to be just a little bit closer coming down the back straight, and again, that section may be one of the important sections to consider coming towards the end of this race. The other one is on the brakes coming up in towards turn number 1. On the final lap, and well, this isn't the only battle that's going on right now. They've also got the one between what is going to be Marius Cuban and Sam Fitzpatrick. That's relatively close as well, and you've got the likes of Surinsky almost falling back into this battle between Perucci and Harris right now, because they're running a couple of tenths of a second faster than the Mercedes is running right now.
Yeah, they're certainly doing. I think we're going to stick with this GT3 battle because this is the closest one on track. And you see him once again, the exit at that final corner, pretty much even between the two of them as Nicole Abril goes into the pit road from third place in the prototypes. And here we go, down the inside, not going to be late braking, but it's a wide entry from Perucci. He loses that place, and well, through goes Harris up into 5th in class.
Yep, and that is not the first time that we've seen that today. A driver just being spooked and just braking a little bit later than they want to. Perhaps a little bit too much of watching the rear view mirror for a couple of drivers out there on track today. And that's probably what happened there with Perucci coming down up into turn number 1. And now the next driver on Sergio Harris's hit list, shall we say, for lack of a better term, is that driver of Johan Surinsky. And Surinsky's gotten himself involved in lots of battles so far this race, and a little bit of controversy as well, a little bit of contact going on, and let's hope that we don't see more contact between himself and drivers. As what have you seen, Paul?
Yeah, Fitzpatrick has made his move. We missed it on screen. We'll get a replay of it very shortly. Just want to see if there's any move into turn number 1. No, there isn't. So we'll get the replay up, and it's Fitzpatrick, I believe, into the final corner. And in fact, it's on the exit of the final corner. Just gets, well, Cuban just moved over for him on the exit of the final corner. That was a bit of an odd one, was that one? But yeah, Fitzpatrick has made his move through. He's now up into 10th place in class in his recovery drive, shall we say.
Yeah, and I have to wonder, is that a slowdown penalty for the driver there of what was going to be Cuban? Because he did, well, he cut the penultimate corner a little bit more than perhaps what is allowed, almost 4 tires across the white line there for Cuban. So that might have been a slowdown penalty that he had to serve, which is why he was so slow coming off the final corner there.
De Jong and Perucci are really close together at the moment, heading in towards the final corner. They've got lap traffic trying to come through on them, and it's going to be one of the prototypes, and here it comes now, going to go past. Drivers left, thank you very much. Nice and easy car. That prototype looks so much faster, but later on the brakes is the GT3s, and that's that ABS I'm talking about. All kinds of out of shape is that prototype. In fact, it's dropping back there.
Yeah, that was Marius Sudau having lots of issues, and actually, in fact, he will surrender the position there to the 28 of Nico Abril, so we might finally have a prototype battle on our hands here coming towards the end of this race. Around about 4 laps to go, it's going to be for the prototype leaders, with around about coming up to, we're just under 6 minutes left in this race as battle for what is going to be P number 4 for your GT3 field. Johan Surinsky, Sergej Haras very, very close on the run down towards turn number 11. Here comes the dive here for Sergej Haras, but Surinsky looking for the run off the corner, but he gets basically Jason Platoed in the middle of the corner, side by side off the corner. As there's a little bit of reference that you don't get if you're not watching BTCC, but side by side coming down the back straight here between Mercedes, between themselves and the Ferrari, and Surinsky's going to have the advantageous line here coming down in towards into this 12th corner here on this circuit. As Surinsky does almost hold his position, but Haras is doing enough here to keep himself side by side. Coming down into turn number 13, there's a little bit of contact between the two drivers, wheel hub to wheel hub, side by side through the very, very tight and twisty section in the middle of the lap. Surinsky is still holding position, and wow, that was almost Surinsky losing this position there, but there's prototype traffic trying to come through on them as well. Nico Abril just very, very patient there at the start of all that, just letting these guys fight. But once they got single file again, he's going to be on his way. Yeah,
credit to the prototype driver there. He could have been a bit pushy. Oh, Haras was pushing track limits there and diving down the inside into the final corner. He's not going to get a run out that corner. He's going to have to slip back in, but he's showing his intentions here. He wants to get by, and it's not working so far. And heading in towards turn number 1 once again, they've got lap traffic coming up behind them now, and that's going to be Sundau trying to make his way through of them. And Perucci is trying to hang on to the back of Sundau. He's trying to use that slipstream just to keep these two in front. And yeah, we've got epic battling in this GT3 field. And Haras, all it took was him making a mistake at the start of the race and having to make a recovery drive, and he's doing a pretty good job of it so far.
Yeah, a good job of it so far it is, but he wants that P number 4 by the end of this race, as Sudau is being very, very patient in that prototype behind, just following them through the high downforce section, as Sudau is going a little bit wide, checking right, checking left. Still no gap for him to file himself past the traffic there as the prototype, as they head their way through turn number 11 yet again for one of the final times in this race. And you would have thought that the prototype would have gotten past here on this back straight. He's using that superior straight line speed, and now will the Ferrari step out of line to try and get the draft of the prototype? Yep, that's exactly what I would have done, and he's trying to use the toe from the prototype to get himself alongside Surinsky here, coming down in towards turn number 12, but he's not going to be close enough to make the move, and time is running out for Haras now.
Yeah, it certainly is. The clock's ticking down. We're under 3 minutes remaining in this one, and Haras is doing everything he can to try and get past Surinsky, but tell you what, Johan's putting up a stern defence here. And going back to that reference you were making about certain Jason Plato, I think that's what you would call parking it on the apex. That's what Haras did that time, and Surinsky wouldn't have been too happy about that, and he's putting up a stern defence. And Perucci, he's not gone yet. He's still on the back of this train. As Sam Fitzpatrick actually side by side with Mike Horder down towards the end of the straight here.
Yeah, exactly. Battling your GTE field, but I think Sam Fitzpatrick will have this move done in that Ford over the Ferrari of Mike Horder. And, well, there was only a marginal difference in lap times between them that last time by, as Horder gets a little bit of oversteer there coming through the first part.
It's still on. Haras couldn't get the run through turn number 1, and Surinsky is hanging on to this one for dear life now.
Yep, you'd have to think that with about 1 minute and 46 seconds to go, and judging from where the prototype leader is on track, this will be coming up towards the white flag lap for your prototypes. There's the prototype leader coming through the final corner, white flag lap for him. But looking back towards the GT3 cars, they still have the better part of a lap and a half to go here, and Haras, he's tried a couple of times already, but that opportunity still hasn't arisen for him, or at least he hasn't capitalized on any. And will we see a late lunge coming down into one of these heavy braking turns here? Harris not getting a good enough run off of the turn number 11. Yes, that one goes to Sarinsky, and you also cannot rule out the number 23 of Perucci here. With the amount of side-by-side battling that Harris and Sarinsky has done, that has brought Perucci back into this to try and potentially get himself a number 4 in this race. So that could be a possibility that we're looking at as this trio head their way through towards turn number 13 now. And well, it's going to be definitely the white flag lap for these guys as they come across the line next time. By who do you think is going to come out on top, Paul?
I think there's going to be a spectacular accident. Perucci's going to come through and take both positions. That's
quite a call there, Paul. Do you want to reconsider?
No, I think it's going to be close. I think with the way that Sarinsky has been defending, though, he's got the upper hand here. And I think really... Oh, there you go. Harris running wide. That's going to cost him some time. And he's got the leading GTE car coming through as well, trying to put laps on them, and that split them up there. And, well, that's not what Harris wanted. And, in fact, it's bringing Perucci into that battle now.
Yeah, as the time ticks down to 0 as the GTE leader makes his way through on Joran Sarinsky. There's a little bit of jostling as this traffic works its way through now, but there goes Matt Farrow, and Victor Prieto is just making his way through turn number 11 right now, just heading his way onto the back straight here.
No, he's at the end of he's the end of the race.
Oh, it is,
Prieto's going across the line. Yeah, he's won it one.
Yep, Victor Prieto winning your prototype field right now, and that was a very, very easy race for him, it has to be said. But looking back towards your GT3 field now, it's still going to be Sarinsky, Harris, and Perucci all battling it out now for towards the end of this race. They have this back straight to go. They have the technical section and the end of the lap to go to try and make any opportunity at any move at the latter part of this race. And meanwhile, your GT3 leader also coming up towards the end of the straight here, coming through the actually turn 14, 16, 17, 18 section. As here comes Harris, maybe looking for the move down into turn number 12. He's going to place his car there, very tentative on the brakes low, but he just drags the car in a little bit, trying to force Sarinsky wide there, but not being able to get it. He looks to make the side-by-side move down into turn number 13. Around the outside he goes, but not able to capitalize again. Meanwhile, Perucci is just sitting there and waiting, just waiting for his opportunity to stick a nose down the inside at any point over the last lap here. But meanwhile, you've got your GTE leader and your GT3 leader coming very, very close across the line. There's actually Roque Garcia.
Yeah, he's already gone as the leader, but the GTE leader, Farah, he's coming across now through towards the final corner.
Yep, and it will be Matt J. Farrow winning in your GTE field, and it will be Roque Garcia winning in your GT3 field. But meanwhile, Sarinsky and Harris very close to the final corner, but Sarinsky will come out on top for your GT3 battle there. He will take P number 4, and wow, that was very, very close coming towards the end there, but Harris not able to capitalize on any opportunities that he had. And sorry for the confusion going towards the end of this race here. We had a couple of things to keep an eye on, but Victor Prieto, Matt Farrow, and Roque Garcia will be your class winners.
Yeah, absolutely. As the last of the drivers come across the line there, that's going to be the end of the race for them. So good racing. It's a shame about that prototype field getting split up so early, but we still have plenty going on in your GT and GT3 classes. And well, I suppose we better give a rundown of all the results here then, Connery.
Yeah, we will, and these are the final results for the first week of the IMSA Sports Car Series at the Circuit of the Americas. In your prototype field, it is going to be Victor Prieto taking the race win by about 13.2 seconds. As I said, it was a very easy race for him, leading from the front. Then it's going to be Marco Acidiacono, Nico Abriel, Marius Zudau, and then it's going to be Bruno Oliveira rounding out that prototype field. In GTE, though, it's going to be Matt J. Farrow winning that one, with Emmanuel De Mayo and Alessandro Dolladoni joining Matt Farrow on the podium spots there. There's also going to be Javi Gutierrez, Barry Morrison, Michel de Jong, Jacobo Seguli, Carl Modig, Sam Fitzpatrick, Mike Horder, Marius Cuban, Daniel Ramirez, and Aidan Campbell will finish out your GTE field. And in GT3s, it will be Roque Garcia winning with William Niemans-Verdreit. Then it's going to be Tim Graven, Joran Srinsky, Sergio Harris, and Claudio Petrucci. The last three of those involved in that fight at the dying end of the race there. Then it's going to be Andrew de Jong, Michael Ivdoka, Konrad Molnar, Angelo De Silis, and there's also going to be Mark Schneidel coming home in last position in that particular field. Well, that's unless we get a couple of drivers in for interviews that maybe all we have time for, but we have a quick ad break right now, and then after it's going to be the post-race show, so don't go away.
When I sat in the car, you always wonder, what's it going to feel like? It was my first time driving a mid-engine GT car. My thoughts were, wow, this is really good for our first time in a car. I was really surprised by it. You're sitting low, you got the A-pillars at steep angles, the windshields at steep angles, you can see the fender flares. I think we have a chance to win. Everything's got to go right, but I think we have a car that can win the race or be on the podium. But can you imagine how cool that would be to go back 50 years later to the year and do it?
Well, that was a very, very interesting race indeed, especially for the mid-pack of your GT3 field coming towards the end there. But that was the race here at the Circuit Americas for the first week of RaceSpotTV Primetime for Season 4. And, well, we've got much, much more to come over the coming seasons, which we'll just get to in a little bit. But just for now, we have a driver that finished in second place in your prototype field, and that's going to be Alessandro Dalladone. And Paul Smith, take it away.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alessandro. Well done. Third place in your GTE3. I'll just talk us through your race there, because there's quite a lot going on there today.
Yeah, sure. Thank you guys for providing such a beautiful broadcast for this amazing championship with this super freaking fast Ferrari car. Gosh, I don't know how to explain this race, because I came here just trying to make some points, but I managed to find a podium, so I'll take it. No way. I'm very happy. I'm sorry for lap 1. I don't know if you catch it in the broadcast. I went completely straight after the backstretch braking points, and we almost collided with the P1 guy and Emanuele, so I screwed it up, but we managed to go by the turn, so then it was just a smooth race, not a lot of battles, unfortunately for you, but we had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of issue with my setup. Didn't expect to be so understeered, so I was not able to catch Emanuele, who actually did a really, really nice race, and maybe he could have took the lead at the beginning of the race, but the start is always crazy, and too wide at the start it's always a little bit tricky for someone who is not used to.
I was just going to ask, that you talk about the start of the race, and this circuit, it's very difficult to see your apex on some of the corners, especially turn number 1. Just how difficult is it at the start of the race with all those cars around you?
Incredibly difficult. I spent a lot of time. I usually don't practice so much for a normal race, so I surprised myself when I started 1 week ago during week 13 practicing for this track. I was terrible. I have to admit it, and I'm really pleased to have reached such an amazing result. Staying behind another car, it's way too difficult for me. I stayed behind Emanuele at the start, and the other guy, sorry, but I don't remember his name. But following another car in the S's especially, it's really difficult, and I made some mistakes and I lost probably second place at the end of the race, but that's racing, and it's a really tough circuit, braking points, fast chicanes, very complicated track where only the best manage to do such an amazing lap time like Emanuele did in qualifying. I had just to say I was not pleased with some DPs racing way too hard when the other guys from the other category are racing for position. I just have to say it. I don't want to criticize anyone, just to let you know, maybe there could be some improvement in the next few races. I hope so.
Well, you're on the broadcast, so you get to have one final say. Anyone you want to thank? Who helps you get this done for you today?
Yeah, obviously I have to thank the Team GT, which helped me a lot in this period with the setups, and they are a lovely group of people, and it's a pleasure for me to wear this fantastic livery the first time with this new team for me, so it's an honor to be part of this amazing team, and obviously all the people behind me, who are really helping, both on the track and outside the track, because you don't know if you are not racing, I'm racing, but also the mental part, it's maybe more important than actually driving.
Well, Alessandro, congratulations on position number 3 in your GTE field. Grande, bellissimo. That's as far as my Italian goes.
You can always improve. If you want, we can catch up after the soft race anyway. It's not a problem.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, and take care.
You too. Thank you for the broadcast.
And, well, Connery, I'll hand it back to you because I believe you got Tim Greven.
Yep, we do, and we have Tim Graven ending up on the final step of the podium in that GT3 field, but it wasn't a race without, quite a bit of drama for you having that early incident. Just take us through that little bit of contact using TV-safe language, shall we say.
Well, it was a very intense first lap. Qualifying is crucial in the first few laps. It's a shame that I got spun, or I spun myself, but I was able to get back on track and keep up with the group, which eventually saved my race pretty much.
Yeah, what goes through your mind when stuff like that happens so early on in the race to put you behind? Is it just a case of just getting your head down and doing what needs to be done to get back up there, or do you think about something else?
At first, the first thing that comes to mind is giving up, but I had somebody with me to encourage me in the team speak, so that helped a lot to to get me back on track. And at that point, it's just getting your head down, doing the fastest lap you possibly can, and trying to overtake a few people here and there.
Yep, that's definitely the aim of the racing here. As I'm just looking at what's coming up on the schedule for the IMSA series, we've got Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca coming up next, as well as the likes of Road Atlanta, Sebring, and also Snetterton, the new track as well. Any opinions on Snetterton? Have you driven it yet?
Yeah, I did quite a few races through week 13. Just awesome track. Really love the way it flows. It suits the Ferrari really well, in my opinion. It's just a great addition to the schedule for this season.
Yep, it really is, and I might be a little bit biased because it is a British track as well, but I don't think we see Snetterton on the primetime schedule, so that is quite a shame. But I hope you guys enjoy that track in this series, and well, what are your hopes for the rest of your series now? Because third place result after what happened earlier on in the race is very good indeed. You're looking in terms of looking for anything in terms of championships? Can you take the fight to the likes of Roque Garcia?
I think Roque Garcia is one step too high for me at the moment, but I'm getting there. We're learning every single week, and every single week we're getting closer and closer. So who knows? Maybe at the end of the season, I'll be able to battle.
Yep, and anyone you want to give a shout out to? Because I did hear you mention someone on TeamSpeak just egging you on at after that incident. So if you want to give them a shout out, please do.
Yeah, especially my team, Revolution Sim Racing. Awesome guys, great group of people, especially Andrew Langham, who was able to assist me throughout the race this time. So thank you guys for all the effort in the past couple of weeks and months leading up to this season.
Well, you're very I bet they're very welcome, as we will just let you out of the commentary booth right now, and I just want to talk about with Paul a little bit here of the races that we have on the schedule. We have the likes of the V8 Supercars series coming up next at Bathurst, which should be a fantastic race, I gotta say. So definitely tune in for that one next week. Looking later on in the schedule here, we've also got, I think I spotted the Grand Prix Legends at the Nordschleife for week number 8, November 3rd. And if I remember the broadcast from last season with Will and Jack Stiles, that one was just hilarious, I gotta say. So maybe we'll have something bigger and better when that one rolls around. Who knows?
I tell you now, as a Yorkshireman, I cannot pull off an accent like they did in that one. That is, especially to keep it up. As long as it did, that was spectacular. But it should be some good racing. Friday prime time, I think, with the way that we've had it with the vote and how it's all mixed up, rather than being just a single series, it's giving some other series an opportunity that may not get broadcast normally. Give them the opportunity to have their series shown and show it in good light. And I mean, the V8 Supercars next week, that's just going to be epic, because Mount Panorama, Bathurst, it is one of the greatest tracks that there is on in World Motorsport, and especially on the iRacing service. And I'm not saying that because I'm a winner in a touring car series around that track, but there you go. People won't like me mentioning that because I know I'll get a lot of stick for saying that, but there you go. I like to bring it up every now and again, Connery.
Yeah, and we also have to remember that the final week of the season, we also have the Verizon IndyCar Series at Indianapolis. So that will be a great one. It's a fantastic schedule for this season, the final season of the year in iRacing in 2017. And we will be here at RaceSpotTV bringing you this Friday primetime every single week up and towards the end of the season in December. But I think that's about all we have time for here. And well, it has been Connery Maddock and Paul Smith bringing you the broadcast today. And I'll see you guys next week.